I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Hello and welcome to the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown from Swift Current Curling Club in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. My name is Ben Hoppe, and today Mark here is with me as well for our C qualifier game between Team Casper of the Twin Cities and Team Cooey out of Alberta. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. It's been a weekend filled with curling, and now we've got even more. Some good late night stuff here in the C event.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to be able to watch multiple games today through Curling Stadium, and I got the chance to hop on commentary and yap about curling for a little bit here.
Nothing wrong with that. Any day with lots of commentary is a good day. It's been a pretty good event here for both teams, up and down. Obviously, they find themselves in the C qualifier, but when you get to so many of these events, there's just so many good teams. It's always hard to make your way through. So we've got, it looks like Danny Casper not around here this weekend. So we've got Luke Violet calling the rocks for Rich Runin, and Rich going to be calling the rest of the game, looks like. They've been kind of a revolving team, has Team Casper of various people jumping in throughout the season. We had Trevor Bonneau, I believe, a few weeks ago as well. So kind of a rotating cast here for Team Casper.
Oh, really? Trevor Bonneau? I thought it was not.
Yeah, I'm petitioning that that we adopt him so we can have him on the U.S. side of the border. But
yeah,
but we'll see. I have a feeling that's not going to go very far. I have a feeling some folks in Northern Ontario probably are going to fight me on that.
Probably not.
So it looks like we've got Team Casper has the hammer here in the first end. Play kind of sticking around here around the middle. Would not be surprised, as we so often see, end up seeing blanks often in the first teams getting. Now they have had all weekend to get used to the ice here, but pretty common to see lots of rocks down the center. Just getting the nerves out of the way as a qualifier, as the run back here.
Yeah, so it looks like they were able to make contact. Doesn't quite kill the target rock, though. It sets up the aphid, so Casper's got a few options here. Looks like probably just, I mean, is he going to corner guard it or just put the rings here? What's the call?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it all just depends here for Team Casper. I feel like you probably split the rings, but you have to make, well, actually, no. It's hard to say in the first end what you want to do, and especially a team, especially when you've got Kevin Cooey, Skip on the other side, there's going to be some bullets coming down the ice at some point. So I feel like at this point, start out with the guard, make them play some tight, tough shots here early on, put on some early pressure. So I like the call to bring in the corner guard here.
It's got to finish just a little bit here, but should cover. It's like covering about half of it. But yeah, definitely forces him to think about how to handle this here.
And Kevin Cooey is known for using all of his thinking time at any point in any event.
Yeah, definitely not afraid of these the buzzer beaters.
He just appreciates bringing all the drama for us. He's all about the viewership, all about the drama. Really nice quiet wait to be able to get around that guard and be able to still hold that into the rings here. So now it's going to force Team Casper to play around with that, try to make a really precise roll, try to bury it here, I believe. So with the roster moving around, we've got Ben Richardson throwing third rocks. Normally, Luke Violet throws the vice rocks, and Ben Richardson throws second. But with Rich Runen throwing lead, everybody just kind of shifts themselves up one. So Aiden Oldenburg throwing second, Ben Richardson throwing the third rocks, and Luke Violet throwing last rocks. Really nice leave there from Ben Richardson.
Yeah, it's been pretty much perfect, yeah.
Always good to see some good aggressive play to start here. At some point, Cooey's going to have to make a double.
Just here, high side here.
And the game of cat and mouse continues. Hope we've got 8 ends filled with this tonight.
Yeah, so a little bit later in the end, so it looks like instead of guarding that, they're just going to go ahead and split the rings here.
Yep, and that makes total sense here at this point. At this point in the end, I would almost, it's one of those things where you have to decide how late do you want to keep playing that guard and allowing them to potentially make that run back. At this point, you have fewer opportunities to make that double. So got to make sure that this is even.
They're heavy. But
that's not going to be even. So it's relatively flat, but with the weight that these guys can throw, that's especially that guy right there. There's every bit of opportunity to come down and be able to make that hit.
yeah, always a good game when you get to see Kevin Cooey take on a not quite a crosshouse double, but pretty long double here. First end.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Kevin Cooey curling game if you didn't have the clock coming down to about 2 seconds left and 6-second hits. It's just what you have to come to expect and love.
First, I skipped rocks here. Close.
And just hit that a hair thick. So got a little too much of it. Didn't quite get the roll they wanted all the way over to it. So now an opportunity to split the house right back. Got to be careful with how you do play this. Violet's got to throw quite a bit of weight at this to get a flat roll and not give Cooey another double right back.
Yeah, Casper coming into this, I think Casper coming in, they didn't get much of a break here. I was able to watch their game against Dropkin where they kind of held them off from a late charge here. I think they just got maybe an hour break here between draws.
It's all right. They're all young, especially that guy in the house holding the broom right now. They can recover really quick, right?
Oh yeah.
Had a really nice chat with Luke Violette in Madison a couple weeks ago, talking about how they try to manage the craziness and the busyness of a curling season, especially with mixed doubles and the trials coming up. And it's definitely been a work in progress to get yourself set up for that, to be able to deal with a grueling season and back-to-back events and all the travel, especially from the U.S. to Canada. So it's definitely something they've been training for and working through at this point. And a really nice hit there. So it's certainly not a gimme here for Kui, but there's still an absolute angle there for a double, and he did just throw the weight. So just got to play the opposite side of the sheet this time.
Yeah. Opposite side, opposite turn. But I think the angles are a little bit better for him here.
Totally agree. The angles look a lot better on this one. So hopefully with it being a little bit more natural, and make the shot here. Again,
makes good contact. It looked like he's couldn't quite see it, but it looked like he was throwing his intern there, which I was kind of surprised about. Kind of a little bit of a dead roll. Just gets a roll over there and makes contact, but not quite enough to kick it out.
Yeah, I think if he plays the out turn on that, you do get more action. But I think the worry is you get that shallower roll, or excuse me, the deeper roll on it. So there's a chance that he's gonna, if he does throw the out turn, that he hits the bottom side of the rock and he just removes everything from play. So trying to do his best to force Violet to make a shot for one or to blank, but instead Violet's got to make a shot to score 2 here in the first. And that is right what they do, right on the nose. So score of 2 in the first here for Team Casper. And the hammer will go over to Team Kui here for the second end.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Stronger agronomics. Better returns. Greater peace of mind. From pre-seed to post-harvest, you can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you.
And welcome back for the second end here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown from Swift Current Curling Club in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Again, I'm Ben Hoppe, joined by Mark Knof, and we are enjoying this game here between Team Casper and Team Cooey. Casper got the score of 2 in the first with Hammer. So Cooey with Hammer here in the second. And we've already got a center guard and corner guard. So we're looking to generate some offense here in the second end.
Yeah, definitely love to see some scores with this setup here. We'll see something here. Liking it so far.
Always love seeing guards in play. That means there's going to be some fireworks at some point in the end. Yes, Kevin, bring it behind the guard. I love it. I love it. So Kark Martin's second shot here in the second end. Just trying to draw behind the corner guard. Team Cooey has had a great run after dropping an early game just by a point to Team Epping in the first game of the event. Through the B side, they then had wins against Laycock, Van Amsterdam, and Kalthoff to get themselves to a B qualifier, lost to Kleider out of Saskatchewan. So they find themselves here in the C qualifier, whereas Team Casper, again with Rich Runen throwing lead rocks and holding the broom for the weekend, they have also found themselves in a C qualifier after a fun game with Danny Casper in the C side. Mark, what were you seeing in that game? That looked like it was a pretty good game throughout.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting game. They had a lot of rocks in play. The forefoots were very crowded, especially towards the end. So there are a lot of kind of interesting angles that they were trying to set up, and it's just kind of your classic cat and mouse. If they junk it up, do we even throw more guards to make it harder to access? That kind of pile. So it was definitely a fun watch.
Awesome, yeah, 6-3 victory from Casper in that game. They dropped their first 2 games to immediately go into the C event, and then wins against Sampson, Purcell, and then Dropkin to find themselves here. And again, the winner from this goes into the playoffs. So trying to capture that last spot. So double center guards here from Team Cooey, and Tyler Tardy working to make the run. Makes contact with Shot Rock, but not able to remove it.
A little bit of bad luck. Leaves a couple staggered center guards out there. And let's see here.
I'm not sure if Tyler's at that part of his 10x10 challenge on Instagram yet. So if he's not, I think we got to start seeing more of those double runs so we can see some more of those converted shots here. It looks like he's still working on pickouts. For those that follow Tyler on Instagram, he's got a great social media kind of run right now. Looks like he's working on make 10 shots in a row of a certain shot. So he's working on pickouts right now. Eventually he's got the double peel coming up. So we'll just throw a rock in the center. Oh yeah, check it out. It's great.
I'll have to follow that now.
Absolutely. He's got you do have to hear him sing every now and then. So you take the good with the bad. Then again, if he gets onto the Grand Slam of karaoke, that might be a little bit of a different thing.
This one feels a little bit heavier. Oh, they are going to go for the straight top. I thought they were going to kind of settle for kind of top 12-ish, but
they're just trying to create as much separation as they can there between those rocks. So a little bit of a decision for Cooey here with how much weight can you bring at this and what can you do about it. He just peels the top one, then I feel like he's probably just going to see another yellow come in and potentially be even more well-made than this one. But looks like that's what he's going to try and do.
Yeah, I think he'll take either the double or the hit and roll. I don't think he can make the double and the roll out of the corner.
Yeah, and I think the double's tough because you have to bring such precise weight at it to be able to get around. So they do get both of them moving Well, this is why. This is why we're on the microphone side and they're on the ice side.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's pretty close to perfect. I mean the rock is peeking out just a little bit, so it's accessible here. But I mean, you're gonna have to throw weight, and you never keep your shooter around to keep it. So
Tyler must have heard me talking trash already and just decided to show me what's what.
It's pretty good.
So Ben Richardson rock here, trying to see if they can get some movement on those Kui rocks. Do navigate the corner guard, and they remove one of the reds, leave their yellow wide open though, I believe. Actually, no, that is buried. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a hard time seeing my feed here. So that is buried. So another tough shot for Kui coming up.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's about as best you could do it there. Yeah. Very important for them to keep the shooter around. So great, weight selection there. And it's mostly buried. Yeah, I mean, I think might be able to dig this out. I mean, I think this is probably easier than the last one. So
this time, new team member Aaron Zlachinsky with his shot, and they are gonna be able to dig that rock out.
Not quite enough to get to the low side, but so opting to take the roll back towards the corner, which may have been the original call. I wasn't exactly sure which way Kevin was trying to get there.
Still a really nice shot though, and it forces Team Casper to have to navigate that corner guard. So anytime you have to keep forcing, digging out your opponent's rocks and forcing them to have to deal with your own guards, you're doing something right.
Yeah, great weight selection by both teams so far, making these kind of quiet hits and making good rolls. This one looks like a little bit tighter, so it may be coming with a little bit more weight on this one.
Now, if they feel confident they can navigate that guard, bring a little bit more weight, you get a little bit better, potentially better of a roll here. Ideally, you'd love to see your rock bury under the yellow guard instead of under the red guard. But got to sweep this for curl to get this as far over as they can. And not quite what the doctor ordered. So the red sticks around, the yellow leaves the rings, and now Kui's in business.
Yeah, just double checking to see how much of that's accessible here. And first team's told me it's mostly half buried, so now looks like they're gonna play the other side of the sheet now.
I think Kui probably trying to bury underneath that yellow center guard. If he buries it under that one, it's a lot tougher for Team Casper to be able to pick it out. A little bit less room to work with. Plus, side of the sheet, we haven't really seen much yet.
Yeah, sweeper's off this one here. Kidding, it's got plenty of weight here. Maybe a little bit of tire to try to move it over. Okay, to take it deep. Ends up sitting back 12 here.
So, scoring area, nice and large, but now an opportunity for, actually a decision here for Rich Runen. Do you want to come in and try and sit shot and be aggressive and play for a steal? Do you kind of get a little spooked by all those red rocks in the rings here? I almost wonder if they ever look at if you ever look at
the open and rolling. Yeah.
If you hit the open one and then roll towards that rock that was just thrown, just to try and eliminate two rocks.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
That corner guard comes back into play on that, though.
It does, and if you don't make the roll all the way, right, then your piece hitting and flopping, back 12 again to sit 3 then. Early decision here.
Yeah. Always like to second end already. We're getting full team conversations, so that's how you know you're in the C qualifier. Things start to mean a little bit more when it's do or die. It looks like they are going to play the hit here. They're going to play the in turn, so we'll see what Luke Violet can do on this rock. He's assuming playing the intern here, then it's a little bit more of a dead roll, but probably hit about a quarter of the rock, and it should direct right towards that rock in the back of the rings.
On it a little bit early to hold line here.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
Just like they drew it up. Out turn double.
Here. Yeah, just nice, easy. Sweeping to keep it clean and makes it pretty perfect. Buried behind the center guard. Not shot rock, but does take away, helps take away potential big in.
Still an opportunity here for Cooey. If he makes a good draw here, then you're looking at the risk of still giving up a 3. So that is still out there. It's tough to do it. You're really asking for a mistake from Violet to somehow open up a 3. But if he buries this rock, it's going to be a tough decision from Team Casper to decide how to try to defend against that on their final rock. But Cooey's got to make the draw first.
This is the same side that went heavy on that earlier draw. And this appears to be the same. Yeah, so not as heavy as the earlier draw. I think definitely they want a top 4, kind of that top 4, top 8-ish range. But they just shot rock, and now it is that decision for Team Casper.
Yeah, they can. I mean, especially considering that Violet's coming out of the left tack, that rock's going to be. You might be able to see a sliver of it, but otherwise, going to be pretty much dead buried under those guards. Does look like the draw here. Got to come down to it. If he ever sits a corner of this one,
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what Cooey does. So Luke Violet with his last here in the second. Already had a couple of really nice shots here in the first 2 ends to first convert for a 2 in the first end, and now to help prevent things from getting out of hand in the second. Now can he keep on with the damage control with his last rock?
This one's skating along here. It's got a curl.
Yeah, so we got Ben Richardson on it now, trying to bring it over as much as they can. And it's going to basically hit it on the nose. So it doesn't get any kind of an inside roll, but pretty tough to see for Kevin Cooey. So it went from decision time from Team Casper to decision time for Kevin Cooey. Is he going to try and make a... He's got a couple options, I think, here. You can either try and pick it out. If you do a clean pick, obviously you got to navigate a guard, that yellow center guard. You can pick it. That's a shot for 2. That's really, I feel like, the only shot for 2 that you see, unless he decides to run the corner guard in for a 3. But that's a pretty long run.
Yeah,
it's awfully early in the game too.
Yeah, I don't know if there's just kind of that, like, just through easy hack weight where you chip it through the hole and then kind of roll towards the roll back 8.
I just don't know that if you have enough weight to actually move it I just don't know if you can throw enough weight at it to get it to the back 12 and still stick around so that you have to be biting the 8-foot to outcount that yellow all the way in the back. So it looks like it's probably going to be a pick, and like you said, try to see if they can stick around with it. But playing that quieter weight does allow the sweepers to have a little bit more control over the rock. See if they can hold this in.
I wonder if the team's not completely on board with this shot. Oh, looks like they're resetting here. Okay.
And I probably just want to get really clear on the weight that they're looking for so they know how to manage this. The last rock here from Kevin Cooey trying to chip this out. Score a multiple here in the second end.
Close here.
And just sneaks it by. What a shot from Kevin Cooey. Such a beautiful shot to score 3 here in the second end. So some great shot making from both teams early on in this game. And Kevin Cooey takes a 3-2 lead going into the third end in the C qualifier here in Swift Current.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
And we're back here in the third end of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown here in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Amazing shot by Kevin Cooey to score 3. Again, like I said earlier, making us look like very clear why we're behind the microphone and he's in the house calling the game and throwing last rocks. Really wonderful shot.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot just in the first two ends. We've seen some, pretty big, hit and rolls, big doubles, and just great weight selection on all these quiet weight hits.
A little bit of a different end setup here as Kui throws the center guard, and then Rich Runen just draws in behind it, and Kui comes in and freezes. So this is kind of that other style of play. If you don't see center guard, corner guard, a lot of times it's the center guard, draw to the middle, and then you play a lot for angles. I feel like most often I see this, at least with American teams, when Schuster is calling the game. So interesting to see that little bit of a change up from how we might normally see a few ends play out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We're not going to be fighting for a corner, but maybe it's just going to be very draw heavy and see who kind of flinches first. Or there's a bit of room behind that pile, but I think we're still stacking on top here early on.
Yeah, usually early on in these types of ends, you just see a lot of jockeying for position and trying to get the best angles, get the angles to favor you. And I feel like a lot of times you end up seeing just a force or even blanks come out of these with just the one guard in play. So we'll see what Kui decides to do here, and that's probably going to determine the course of action for Rich Runen on their next rock. It was good to see in that ad break an ad for House of Hearts Duluth. Mark, have you ever had the chance to go in the House of Hearts at all?
I haven't. That's on my list. It's definitely on my list.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about it. Definitely one thing I want to get up to at some point. I know Chris Plies does so much good work just working on ending childhood hunger in northern Minnesota. So really nice to see the ad for them there. If you have a chance to support them, please do. Check out the House of Hearts. And speaking of Rich Runen, I have heard rumors if you go to House of Hearts, you may or may not be able to get some things put on Rich's tab at some point throughout the course of the weekend. So, if you ever need some extra incentive, that might be your opportunity. So interesting to see they just picked that rock straight out the top. So we might just basically see the exact same shot come down here. See if they can maybe make it a little bit better. Maybe loosen up the angles a little bit or take away that corner freeze.
Yeah, I think he's talking about it. It's like it's gotta be there. He's okay with bumping it, but leaving that gap is kind of what allowed that pick to begin. So we'll see if they move this at all.
This is Aiden Oldenburg throwing here. He's first season on Team Casper. USA Curling announced some lineup changes for the high-performance teams back in May. We've seen Team Strauss on the women's side, and Sarah Anderson was brought onto their team. And on the men's side, this is one of the probably the most significant change was Aiden Oldenburg coming onto Team Casper. Just Rex on that center guard, so not quite what they were looking for here. Third end, you have that, like I mentioned earlier, you have that center guard set up there. At some point, we're probably going to see this pick out. Mark, at this point in the end, you're thinking about how you want to finish this up, what your goals are for the end. Where do you think if you're Rich Runen and Team Casper, how do you think you're trying to play through this after that just barely wrecked on that card?
Well, I mean, you've got some savers here for both sides, depending on where this ends up here. But you are kind of getting a little worried here. I mean, there's room. You can always draw behind right now. It's going to be because you have quite a bit of cover, and the angles don't run directly back. If you can ever get something, say, just right on the tee line or even back button. But again, a little scary here. You can always just try to hit your way out of this, right? Like you had mentioned it earlier with the single guard. You could still try to work towards a blank if you're worried about, how this is kind of getting set up for you.
Yeah, this is kind of decision point here for Rich. How aggressive does he want to be, or considering that the angles aren't the greatest for him right now, do you want to be aggressive, or do you want to just maybe start to bail on the end a little bit? I think there is a world where if he were to hit this, I think your shooter's going to roll out if you hit this high side of nose here. Might be able to remove both reds at that, but you're probably losing that yellow, and then they're just drawing behind the center guard. So probably just trying to nudge around here and keep playing a game of angles on Aiden Oldenburg's second shot here. I actually do get those to move out without that yellow moving. So really nice spot. Couldn't hit that in any better of a spot, really.
See, I saw someone asking YouTube chat if this was. Oh, maybe they delayed their message. But yeah, this is a C qualifier. We'll have the quarterfinals starting tomorrow, I believe, at 9 a.m. So if you head on over to Curling Zone, you can take a look at the playoff brackets as soon as we start getting some results here.
Run back attempt there from Tyler Tardy, just not quite made. Or was that Sliczynski? I'm losing track here where we are in the end. Excuse me, that was Aaron Sliczynski. Should have known that with Tardy sweeping on that side of the rock, but now an opportunity for Runen to split the house and have a chance to set up there too.
So we're curling a little bit here.
Yeah, so that pops out the other side and sets up the double. It's a flat, but it's pretty tight together, so that should be relatively straightforward to make this, you'd think.
Yeah, considering the hits they've been making all game, I don't want to do a commentator's curse, but I feel like this one's gonna be pretty automatic.
Not cursed today. Well done. Aaron Sliczynski makes that double. And so now an opportunity here. It's going to be interesting to see where exactly this roll goes to on this rock here from Team Casper, trying to see if they can bury it. This is what happens when it's why hitting and rolling is such a challenging shot, because you have to be so precise where you do it. If you hit just a hair too much or just a hair too little, you either don't move enough or you move too much. In that case, they rolled too far. Team Kui takes advantage, and you go from having a setup for 2 to a probable blank at this point, if I had to guess. Or it could be a steal if Kui can now make a hit and roll under the guard.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future
Yeah, especially once you get down to skip rocks, you have to start considering, is the best time you have to kind of make that transition from keeping the scoring area open to really trying to utilize whatever guards are in play and trying to use those to your advantage. So in this case, there's still that center guard that's up there, and only one rock for one opportunity for Kevin Cooey to make that hit. So, try to be a little bit more aggressive with it. And now it's a tough one. I don't know that Cooey he's not going to really be able to get across the nose and get under. So kind of a low risk for Team Casper to try and make the roll under the center guard there.
This one's got room here.
Yep. Kark Martin trying to sweep this over and does get a piece of it. Does it get out of play? It does not. So just enough of an inside roll from Luke Violette's shot, and Cooey just wasn't able to get enough of that rock. So now it's going to be a draw to hit the paint for 2 for Luke Violette. My least favorite shot in the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, just hit.
You'd think hitting the 12-foot
house,
is so easy, right?
Yeah. It's a giant circle. Just hit it.
It's a whole lot easier to do, I feel like, on second rocks or vice rocks, but you start throwing last rocks, and suddenly that house looks a whole lot smaller. Luke Violette's last here in the third end. Sweepers are on this one a little bit. They're not really going hard at it yet. Just trying to make sure that they clean it all the way down. Weight looks good. And perfect shot for 2. So we have offense here, ladies and gentlemen. Multiple points every end so far. Nothing but hammer conversions as we take a 4-3 lead for Team Casper into the fourth end.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Welcome back to Swift Current Curling Club in the C qualifier. between Team Casper and Team Cooey here at Swift Current Curling Club. Lots of offense so far here, Mark.
Yeah, no, it's no blank so far, which I'm always glad to see. Yeah, we've got a single, a deuce, and another deuce. Or actually, a single, 3, and then a deuce.
Yep. Yeah, we've got Casper scored 2 each time they've had hammer, and then Cooey there 1 time with hammer. They got their 3 there in the second end. So off to a rocking and rolling start here early on. And kind of same as the second end, we see the center guard, corner guard start. Except this time, corner guard not on the center line from Team Casper. Now, last time in the second end, we saw Team Cooey come in behind that corner. So a little bit higher of a corner guard this time. So I'm curious if that's going to impact how Cooey's going to set up this end. Yeah, he's got the tick shot available with that not being on the center line.
Yeah, the good old tick into a corner guard. You don't really see that at your league nights here.
Well, I mean, you do, just not when it was intentionally called. Yeah. So Shinsky on this one, just trying to see what he can do with it, but looks like it's going to get a little too much. Nope.
Yep.
Tick shot. Pretty well made. Off to the corner guard, just like you called. So Cooey's got double corners on the right side of the sheet as we're looking at it here. So now a little bit of a tough time here for Rich Runden trying to decide how he wants to handle this with not being able to take any of those guards out yet with the 5 rock rule.
Yeah, I think Brennan's wanting a center guard, but there's just a double off the yellow at the wing there. I think that was pretty flat. I think Rich's first inclinations.
And it looks like Rich was
going under the corner, maybe, or just kind of cutting off the corner.
Yeah, I think he was looking at not necessarily coming all the way around it, but rather choking off the draw so that way Cooey can't necessarily get under there. And that way, if Cooey ever did try to make a roll, then Rich has an opportunity to, work with that. So trying to keep Kevin busy without being able to utilize those corner guards quite as much. It looks like they did decide to settle on the center guard here. And I'm wondering, do you think that's just because they think, well, if he makes the double, then we can still come around that center guard anyways?
Yeah, I think so. Like, even if you make the center and he makes a double, that's right. Or if he decides to go into the corner, then you're able to go behind everything and go, top 4. So you're gonna have some options, right? And that's not the easy. I mean, it's pretty close and it's very makeable double there. But if they make it, probably still have access to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think based off of how that double sits there, I think there's a chance based off of how those are set up that you could almost hit the double and actually almost keep rolling a little bit down the center line towards the button. But I would not be surprised, especially if Tardy just sticks this double, if Runen almost tries to use that, maybe use another guard, or just try to keep play in the center of the sheet and away from those corner guards. So Tyler Tardy here throwing second rocks. Makes contact with both. Not able to remove it. And now you kind of have that red acting almost as another guard here. So an opportunity for Runen to put on a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah, I think we'll just take this straight back here.
Pretty short run. Be pretty makeable for Aiden Oldenburg. They're trying to get this to curl over as much as they can with Richardson on it. They wanted to stick the nose double, not quite able to do that. So they do leave a center guard, a guard just off the center line up there. And now, unfortunately, an opportunity for the corner guards to come into play.
Yeah, not the ideal result. You know, you're sitting 2 here, you know, for Team Casper. But yeah, if they make this hit and roll underneath double corners, then start worrying just a little bit.
So the southpaw Tyler Tardy's out turn always screws me up when a lefty starts throwing. Gotta mix up my turn.
It's got a curl here. Trying to move it over.
So he just sticks it. That's Rock is wide open, and even more so out of the left hack. People throwing with the correct hand and foot. Sorry, Tyler. And any other lefty throwers out there, I apologize. So another opportunity here, this time for Ben Richardson. See if they can try to bring play back away from those corner guards. If the corner guards come into play, that's where the score for multiple is most likely for Team Cooey. And now, once again, trying to sweep this for curl. Oof, just barely got that by the guard.
Yeah, both teams just having a little bit trouble with this spot here. Maybe just not curling as much as they expected it to. Ben's had a little bit more weights than Tyler's, but didn't seem to be a ton of movement on this line there.
And so now the opportunity for Cooey to draw under the center or the corner guards. Leave that rock on the 12-foot. Stay aggressive here. Try to generate offense.
Yeah, we'll see with this kind of draw weight. See if there's just better finish here. Still Kark having to go to carve it over just a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like that actually moved really nicely once the weight started to come off of it. Because at first they had Tyler Tardy on it and came off of it and they switched over. And that was a really nice weight on that draw, though I have a feeling that Richardson can probably see probably about a half a rock, if I had to guess, from that left hack.
Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of adjustment they make here in terms of reading it down the ice and if they have to start to carve a little bit earlier to make it move. Sweeping it early to keep it straight now. Yeah, there you go.
And they are able to make the dig there. Kind of the same thing that we just saw from Cooey's team too, where they felt like they needed to hold it for line early, and then made that switch to sweep for curl. So there might just be something on the line of just trying to set it out into the proper path, or maybe there's a tricky spot there, like you mentioned, that they're just trying to figure out how exactly that's going to play.
So we'll just reset here and see Team Cooey attempt to get into this corner again. Got a lot of room again on this one here. Yeah, plenty of room by these guards here. See Tyler switching to the reverse sweeping actually to help it get on that angle.
Well, Clark Martin's used to sweeping with a front ender who basically sweeping backwards. I remember watching Bradley Thiessen do that quite a bit. So had to get himself all the way around to the other side of those rocks so he could manage the corner guards himself to do that. Definitely looks like it buried more than the previous shot. So a little bit tougher of a dig here for Team Casper.
Yeah, absolutely. But this being behind T, there is some room to kind of sit down. You know, you can sit down on top of it, or you can even maybe just move it a foot. I think they're okay with tapping, but yeah, just right on top is pretty good. Or it's like looks like Richie's indicating he prefers it to be just on T line, or maybe just slightly above. So maybe just essentially the same draw.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you're shot. That's the most important thing here, is getting to shot rock. Because if you're not out counting that, then you start getting a little worried about giving up multiple points here in the fourth. This is made well. Definitely a forced situation. So no pressure, Luke Violet. Sweepers on it right away.
Wow. I thought that was going to be all over the guard.
Really great sweep and a really great spot. What a fantastic team shot right there. Yeah, really well managed from all parts of the team, but especially from the sweepers to have such a great judge on where that is. And obviously with Rich calling the line there, just primo shot making. That makes Cooey's life a lot tougher here on his last two rocks. So Cooey looking to just try to follow this down, looks like. Do you think he ever wants to maybe just get a slight little tap here just to maybe release that red rock?
Yeah, I think so. Although with this where he put the broom, I think he's just playing the draw. But if he ever gets to the low side of it, it's kind of a bonus here. Because he does have some room to even bump that red a little bit and still remain, third.
And just like that, I don't think that red is... I feel like if you ever run that red, that the back red's killed. So I don't think he was quite able to release it enough to bring it back into play for a potential counter. Really nice weight, though. And they were able to sit shot here. So another... It's going to force Violet to just try to draw out of the button, essentially, and make Cooey make a tough shot around the guard. We've seen play kind of shift here. The beginning of the end, we saw a lot of the rocks start to come onto this side of the sheet, and then as some of the hits kind of didn't work out exactly as they were hoping to, then we started to see that play shift back towards the double corner guards that Cooey had set up. Now, Team Casper on their last rock, trying to bring play right back to the center, see if they can prevent the score of 2 from Team Cooey.
I have a guard here with plenty of room here.
Gotta come down. But will sit shot, and it's basically perfectly buried here.
Oh, is he going to play with his own here?
Yep. I think that's the play. That's his play for 2. I'm off your own. I don't think the red. It just depends how he hits that, his own rock. Because if he hits too far on the inside, that rock might hit. Once it hits the yellow, might then spin out. And that's where you're going to see if that yellow that's in the top of the rings, we should see the back red killed in the back 12 foot. The yellow on the 8 foot will be killed by doing this. And then that yellow that's been sitting up there since like the 3rd rock of the end might actually be the one that potentially prevents Cooey from scoring a 2. But it all depends on how much this rock is going to spin. Don't think it'll spin that much. The opposite rotation, I think, would have caused a little bit more spin out on that. So Cooey here in the 4th, trying to play the in-off for 2. It's like nice quiet wait.
Gonna curl.
Wow. And just like that.
Yep.
So once again, Kevin Cooey with the beautiful touch on his last rock and scores 2 with the hammer to go into the 4th end break here with a 5-4 lead. So another great shot from Team Cooey. Shot making back and forth here in this game. And we've got a close one in the C qualifier here in Swift Current.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution. Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here. and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Welcome back, and thank you again, everybody, for joining us here for this C qualifier in the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown from Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Again, I am Ben Hoppe, joined by Mark No. Mark, it's been a crazy game. What are your thoughts so far as we're halfway through this C qualifier?
Yeah, I mean, this if you're ever wondering what's the difference between, like, you know, the professionals and amateurs, like, this game is pretty much it. I mean, just great weight selection on the hits, right? Like, things where we think the angles aren't there. It's been a lot of shot making, really. No blanks. This is I got pretty lucky doing commentary with you on this one.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Apparently, whenever I jump onto games, they just happen to be barn burners. A couple months ago, I jumped onto a game, and it was, I think, Jordan McDonald versus Mike McEwen. And I think Jordan McDonald won that one on the last rock, I believe. So I've been pretty fortunate in the games that I've been coming into to see some crazy games with lots of offense. And I'm never opposed to that. Like you said, anytime I can see a lack of blank ends, I'm all for it.
Yeah, even in
the
this
offense, especially in this one, the offense. Yeah, in this end, we're seeing the rocks back into the house. We had draw slide deep from Rich Roonan on his first, and then freeze made back from Carr Martin. So, and the thing is with the offense in this game, it's not really coming because of a lot of missed shots. It's becoming from a lot more made shots, which is everything you want to see. You always want to see made shots, especially when that leads to a lot of good offense.
Yeah, it's all stuff with a high degree of difficulty, right? And they're putting it perfectly, right? Like, so even though there was a slight miss on that first draw, right? It's perfect freeze and it's great weight here, and now we're seeing that kind of like stagger here. Granted, it is behind T, but it's going to be the makings of another interesting end here.
Absolutely, and you start to wonder at some point for Team Casper if they ever start to think about trying to see if they can get a blank here. We are in an odd end, and in an 8-end game, that 8th end comes up quicker than you might want to. So you have to start considering at what point do you have to think a little bit less about generating offense and more about what end do you want to be generating that offense in.
Yeah, so we've had, I guess, the 5 rocks thrown here, so this is decision time here for Richie. And it looks like we're going to keep on adding to this pile here and trying to get the angles in their favor.
Yeah, especially with everything behind the T line. I think if this stuff was above the T line, that center guard probably goes. But with everything behind the T yet, I think you see this continue for at least 1 or 2 more rocks here first. And again, for those that are just joining us, or maybe didn't catch the first end, Rich Roonan in for Team Casper for this event. So he's throwing lead rocks and then calling the game with Aiden Oldenburg, Ben Richardson, and Luke Violet all moving up 1 spot in the throwing order from what you'd normally see from Team Casper. And that rock from Aiden Oldenburg just came a little short. So now it's going to get a little hairy, I think, here for Team Casper.
Yeah, you got to figure no matter what happens here, they're with the center guard here.
Yep, so Tyler Tardy going to be trying to draw around this, be the first one to the button here. I feel like I'm on hockey ice talking about being the first one to the button, only on the seconds rocks, but we are not on hockey ice. We are on good quality ice here at Swift Current Curling Club.
Well done.
And good curlers with good ice means good shots just like that.
Looks like he is going to try to line these up to get stuff moving here.
Aiden Oldenburg's second shot, looking to be the janitor and get on cleanup duty here. And not happy with this one. Release that wide. I don't know if that picked or just a bad release, but just peels the guard instead of doing the straight run there.
Yeah, he didn't look too happy with it out of his hand and trying to push it over, but that kind of weight. And it seems the ice is a bit weight sensitive in this draw. So no saving that. And we'll see if Kevin's just going to try to make a better guard here.
It's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out for Team Cooey. You know, Aaron Slaczynski came into the team. Obviously, some of the interesting things behind that with basically their biggest rival in Alberta, and pulling Aaron Slaczynski from that, he slots right into the vice. And anytime you can grab a really good skip and put him in throwing vice rocks, that's going to help your team out. And I'm sure there's probably been some adjustments for the team to get used to each other with mid-season changes, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out for this team as they're going to have to go through the Alberta provincials, try to get themselves back to the Brier.
Yeah, I mean, one less team you have to face and play downs. Yeah, I've always liked Slaczynski's game. I wasn't familiar with him for a long time, but you know, I've been able to watch quite a few of his games on Curling Stadium, and been pretty impressed.
Yeah, I just distinctly remember watching some of the games that he had in Alberta Provincials last year, and he was on fire in those games. Was really a thorn in the side for everybody, including Team Cooey, in those games. So bringing that shot making to this team is a huge add for them, as Ben Richardson just misses clipping that yellow on the run. So we're probably just going to keep seeing the corner guard here. Or, excuse me, seeing the center guard with Team Casper going to continue trying to work on running this in for the next rock or two here. Tyler Tardy and Kark Martin trying to drag this over as much as they can. And that's on the center line. And now that yellow rock is open. So at this point, you know, what do you think, Mark? I mean, I feel like you have to diagnose, like, what's the problem rock here? Is that center guard your problem rock? Or is this now the reds on the forefoot are the problems and you can maybe deal with it? So if they try and decide how they want to attack this angle here. Very weight sensitive shot. Still have to navigate around that center guard. Since you probably have to bring the weight down a little bit, but an opportunity to run that yellow in and shake things up.
Yeah. I suppose you're okay if you do wreck on the guard, but with this much room, you'd expect to be pretty close there.
Yeah, this late in the end, it's a little bit trickier. If you do wreck on the guard, it becomes a little less okay. Nice sweep from Luke Violette. They're able to remove one of those yellows. And the other thing, that yellow sitting out on the side is a rock that you can potentially use here for Team Casper.
Yeah, there's a lot of rocks behind T.
So Kevin Cooey going to draw in.
A lot of rocks behind T there, but yeah, you can easily come off yours, kick that red out. You don't lose that kind of rock in the 5 o'clock position of the button.
Yeah, it's too bad to see where this draw from Kevin Cooey comes down, but Be interesting because if it was if that yellow was just a hair higher, we almost could have seen one of those around the clock scenarios potentially coming into play. But good draw from Kevin here, and I don't know that there's going to be any way if he makes this shot for Team Casper to be sitting 1 going into last rock.
Sweeper's off this one here. Yeah, Tyler's maybe gonna curl it a little bit here.
Looks like that's checking up really nicely. Good guy, Kevin Cooey, giving his sweepers the rock off, just going to make it on his own.
Well, a little bit of trouble here for Casper, but has an opportunity to make a really good shot.
Yeah, I think that in-off really is your only play at this point, because if you run that yellow in, the angles aren't working in your favor running the top yellow. I just don't know what else you really play from here unless you're going to do some kind of a draw or just try to pick out that rock, which I don't think that really helps you either. So I think you almost have to play into these.
Yeah, I mean, if you play anything with the top and you don't make it, I mean, I think Kevin's either guarding it or hitting off your yellow into the pile and making it really tough for you to score. So
yeah, I think if you ever miss that now. Exactly. I think you have to, because if this setup is on Kevin's last rock, you have to think he's just hitting that open rock in the 8-foot just to give Luke Violet nothing good to shoot at on his last, basically making him make a perfect draw to only give up a steal of 1. But a made shot here could potentially open up a possible score, though it would be really challenging. We're throwing the in turn, so throwing a lot of weight at this rock. Richardson really trying to hold the line.
Pinch this one. Just wait.
Really nice shot from Luke Violet.
Yeah, I think he pinches just a hair tight maybe on the replay, but well swept. And
yeah, I think maybe a hair thicker and you possibly hit it might change how you hit that rock, but I honestly don't know that they could have done a whole lot better than that. Because if you hit a little higher than all you do is you just pop out the top rock a little to the side. Yeah. I don't know that really actually helps you that much. So
yeah, very interesting here. Does Cooey's still sitting shot rock, but it is unlocked. So there are some runs and some weird jam possibilities, but it's like Kevin's. If you're Kevin, are you just freezing just dead on top of this, or?
I think if you're Kevin, you're almost trying to freeze into the corner or into the crotch of those, the yellow and the red
pocket.
Yeah. If you get into the pocket there, and you make a perfect freeze into that, you're essentially forcing. Well, you're giving Luke his shot of what do you want to do to only give up a steal of 1.
Yeah. Looking for just a little bit of late finish here. Okay.
So Cooey is sitting 2, and don't know. So I think I could be wrong here, but I do think there is a shot potentially for 2. And that is exactly what Luke is looking at right here. If you hit that high side, the top red spins out, and the bottom red just goes right back into the pocket. And if you stuff it, you should be sitting 2 after that. So it's a tough shot, though. If you ever wreck on the guard, you give up a steal of 2. You could try to play the pick on this yellow. And there's a slight chance you get super unlucky. Yeah, you could get super unlucky, though, and just hit one and it spins out and you still go up to steal anyways. Or if you're really unlucky, which I feel like this would be a me result, is I would find a way to just pick it right between the two reds and not touch any of them.
I honestly like the pick here. Just because you hit what you can see, and then you're good. The problem with the run is you have to throw it. You have to get the weight, enough so you don't spin off the top red one, because you have to. You basically have to dead stuff it to score 2.
Yeah, and are they gonna play it? It's like they're gonna play it. The other thing, this isn't like the ideal scenario here, but I talked at the beginning of this end about the possibility of blanking at some point to try and take hammer so that you would have hammer in the even ends. If you can ever just limit to a steal of 1, hammer stays with you for the 6th. You're down 2, obviously, but if you can go down 2, get 2 in the 6th, force 1, then you're down 1 with hammer in the 8th, and it doesn't look too bad. But first things first, Luke Violette on his last shot here in the 5th end, trying to make a run, see if he can move both reds for 2. Now Oldenburg sweeping this for curl.
Just a hair out.
And just going to give up a steal 1. So sure enough, the steal 1 for Team Cooey after a lot of rocks into the house the entire end. Another fun end here from the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. So 6-4 lead for Team Cooey going into the 6th end.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Welcome back. We're in the C qualifier here of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown from Swift Current, Saskatchewan. We've got Team Cooey with a 6-4 lead over Team Casper after stealing 1 in the 5th end. So Team Casper has hammer here in the 6th end. And I think the start of this end with the corner guard and Team Cooey coming into the house in the 1st probably indicates a little bit of a shift in thoughts of how each team wants this end to play out. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely right. Team Cooey's got 2-end lead here, and would love to get a force here, right? I don't think they're necessarily fighting for a steal, but if one presents itself, they will. But yeah, they're first 2 in their range.
Yeah, I think that's
going to get something here.
Exactly. That's oftentimes what I feel like you end up seeing is when one team really is pushing hard to get a score of 2 or more, and their opponent is pushing hard for a force. You start to see some really interesting ends develop, because as you can see from Team Kui, like they had 2 rocks come into the house and double corner guards from Team Casper, and now a center guard from Kui. So there's going to be some scoring in this end. I don't think we have to worry about seeing a blank here in the 6th. And if I'm wrong, everybody can blame me for announcer's curse. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a pretty good setup so far. You've got, in the corner guards, you've got a long one and a tight one here. Rocks and rings here. I don't know if, Team Kui doesn't hate if this gets into the rings here, but does prefer it to be. Yep. Touching center line. It's pretty good there.
Yep, not too bad. Now, decision time for Rich. Does he want to play this? You can clear out both those reds in the rings if you hit this on the nose. Obviously, that would leave 1 in the rings, but you could potentially move a lot of granite, but leave yourself a 3rd corner guard if you play it right.
Yeah, I think he hit this on the outturn side here and roll to a corner and get 2, if not 3 of these going here. Just some discussion on what kind of weight we're throwing here. And, we'll see if they can get a corner out of this.
Yeah, you wonder how difficult this is. Now, obviously, these guys have been around Rich Runen for a while, and I want to say that Aiden Oldenburg played a little bit with him at some point in the last year or two. But you have to think with the kind of the team rotations that have happened throughout the course of the last month or two for Team Casper, that having, to constantly change who's in the house and just the team dynamics changing so regularly, it has to be really challenging for communication and just getting your team set up for success long term anyways, right?
Yeah, you're definitely wondering about that dynamic, but I feel like we've seen a lot of shift in the past few years for team dynamics, right? There's some teams carrying a regular 5th person that they're rotating in and out, because it's a long quad. And we've seen other teams go with 3 players for an extended amount of time. So I think everything's kind of open. We've seen people win with 3. We've seen people carry, teams of 5 and win. So anything kind of goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest challenge is probably just having regular, consistent communication for the team. But I'm sure that's probably been the case for them throughout the season, is being really clear anytime they've had somebody come in with how they communicate, trying to get them into that situation. Obviously, I think probably the person that it's the hardest on, if I had to guess, would be Aiden Oldenburg. Coming into a new team for the season and then kind of having a number of different people that need to rotate in throughout these spiels at skip. Really nice shot there from Tyler Tardy, making the double peel. We know that's coming up on his, as I mentioned earlier, his 10x10 challenge. So getting himself well prepared for that. That's going to be a short challenge for him. He'll complete that in day 1, no problem.
Yeah. Well, with that double peel, got less in play here, but still an opportunity for Team Casper to get a hit and get a little bit of a tricky roll here for Kui to deal with.
Yeah, if they can ever get this rock to move across the face a little bit, hit this on the low side, get a roll under, you're at least forcing Kui to have to deal with that shot rock somehow. Whether that's running that red in, or if maybe Kevin just decides to peel the other yellow corner guard. But on this for line early. And now they're working to try and move this over. So see where they can get this to end up. And don't get much of a roll. That's that same line. I think we saw that 2 ends ago. Yeah, it was 2 ends ago. We saw rocks moving on that for righties, the intern here, where they thought they needed to really go for line, and suddenly about halfway down the sheet, you really saw them switching over and trying to push the rock over as much as they could. So I feel like anything that's starting on the center line just either isn't moving quite as much as they need to, or they feel that they need to sweep it out a little bit more early.
Yeah, from watching these, I'm very thankful to have these cameras and being able to watch this feed here, but it almost feels like the break point is later than they expect. Like they expect it to break, and it just never breaks until a little bit later. Even with this last shot here, right? That didn't curl that much, and I'm sure they did want a roll some separation, but it was almost too much there.
Yeah, it's so much to the point that when you're Team Casper and you're trying to generate 2, for you that there's not really a whole lot of a difference for you for getting 1 or getting yourself or a blank. Like they kind of have the same outcome. So at this point, it's really going hard to try and see if you can get a conversion with hammer here in the 6th. So when that rock rolls all the way to the edge of the 12-foot, it's not one that you have to worry about. If we're in the second end, maybe we're seeing some kind of a cheeky play off of the rock in the top 12 and seeing where you can get it to roll to. But at this point, when you really need to get 2, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive with your calls, which in this case is leading us to a really wide come around on a line that we really haven't seen yet so far in this game.
Are working hard to get it to go here.
Yeah, when you haven't played a rock that far out, it's going to get pretty frosty, and you're going to have to work a lot harder to get that to where you need to go. Do a good shot getting it to sit shot. But it's a pretty easy run here for Kui if he wants it.
Yeah, great effort by the boys on Team Casper to get it to shot rock. Again, these guys were just playing a little before the draw previously, playing Team Dropkin, going all 8 there. So yeah, definitely probably feeling it a little bit here.
Absolutely, I do think as far as U.S. curlers go, when you look at front end and just sweeping effectiveness, you think a lot of like Colin Huffman, for example. That's probably the lead one. Watching mixed doubles, you see Corey Dropkin, even seeing Mark Fenner on those guys go really hard on a rock. But I feel like Ben Richardson does not get the recognition he's due as being a really incredible sweeper for Team Casper. There's a lot of shots that he makes for the team. And really good shot there from Aaron Sluchinski. Brings play, he takes that short run, and that corner guard not in play at the moment.
Yeah, see on the replay, really well swept to push it over there and keep both Red Rocks in place. So now Red Rocks hitting 3. Question you always gotta ask: is the triple there, or are we just you're just playing the role? Get that double that way, or
I think you're still gonna see on Ben Richardson's rock here. Probably just gonna see them. Just looks like they're just gonna draw it back under that corner guard. So they're gonna stay aggressive. Really try their best to set up 2. There's no center guards, so at this point, they're not necessarily worried about getting stolen against here. And like we said, like there's blanking or getting a single kind of have the same effective rate for you. So really go as hard as you can for a 2 for as long as you can until it's just not an option anymore.
With the placement of the Kui rocks, they can definitely come behind the corner and sit second, which I think is a big factor in this decision here.
And it's pretty close. It's hard to say. Anytime you're looking at the overheads, you never quite know what to believe. Based off of what we're seeing in the overheads, it looks like Red Aaron Sluchinski seems to agree with us on that one. So appreciate Aaron doing the commentators a favor, letting us know what shot rock or a second shot here. And so now Kui going to basically follow that rock down. If he can follow that rock down and sit shot on top of it, really there's almost no chance or it's a really hard chance to score 2 in any way if Kui can make this draw on his first rock here. So Kevin Kui with his first rock here in the 7th end, looking to try to come around the corner guard and sit with a corner freeze or even a slight tap onto that yellow that was just thrown by Ben Richardson.
I have some room here.
Yeah, this is that close. Weight's great. It's that tricky line we've been talking about where things running down that center line. So it does come right down to the corner of it, and looks like first call there from Luke Violette was, do you think we ever can do the around the world to bump that one up? I would love to see if that was made, we're seeing a highlight reel shot, especially considering how spaced out those rocks are. So really just doing everything they can to work through the different iterations of how, is there any way that we can score 2 here?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just don't know where you go here to go away from it. If you hit and then hit a little bit on the high side here, so the out turn hit, roll a little bit, try to roll under that red yellow and use those staggers. That freeze that we just made is your like a guard basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the only thing you have. The only other thing you could possibly do is just try to, I don't know, dead freeze to this one here. But if you're off by any margin, Kevin's just going to pick it out.
Right. And even a dead freeze, with the amount of weight that Kevin can throw, he hits a corner of it and it's still going to go. So I, for one, would have voted for the around the world shot just because I like to be entertained. But I understand the thought process here. This rock's got to move in.
Yeah, they're playing the other turn here. They're playing the out turn on this kind of tricky side. And
yep. Close. They probably wanted that to roll that about a stone further. I think if they could go back and do it again. Stone further, and that's a lot tougher of a shot to deal with for Kui. Probably has to try and throw a drawdown to freeze to it, but instead, you can just pick this out, and the force is beyond.
Yeah, he's quite a bit of tolerance too, because I actually think he can hit the red and still take this other one out, but.
It is tricky here with this turn. So again, this tricky turn that we've seen where they think they have to jump on it early. This one, I think they do need to jump on early, actually. And he does get it. Never a doubt. Just barely sneaks that one by. Good job, Tyler Tardy. Way to earn the paycheck there. And just going to be a draw for one here for Luke Violette and Team Casper.
Yeah, somehow the shooter stuck around at that weight. But yeah, What a great scrub by Tyler, who's treating himself to some cooler water back there. Yeah, go and get your second cup there.
I believe he sounds like at one point there was some team discussions happening earlier in the event, and Tyler went and just sat in the stands with a couple of the fans to take a little bit of a break. So he's had some well-earned breathers a few different times throughout the course of this event. Quickly trying to turn himself into a fan favorite here, I think, hanging out with the fans in the stands. The last rock here from Luke Violet, drawing against 2. He's got to get basically a bite of the 4-foot for the single. Keepers like the weight.
Yep.
And right to the tee line. Great shot there from Luke Violet. Making the draw as you need to, taking their single. So an eventful end here in the 6th. The hammer will go to Team Cooey, and they are up 1 as we head into the 7th end.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution. Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Welcome back here for the 7th end from the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown from Swift Current Curling Club. Team Cooey forced Team Casper to 1 in the 6th. So we find ourselves here in the 7th end. Team Cooey up 1 with the hammer in a good commanding position here. So tight game, but a good spot for Team Cooey to be in as we head into the 7th.
Yeah, some great team making from both sides. Had been a really tight game in the first half, but a couple shots here and there, and Team Cooey definitely in the driver's seat now with only 2 ends to go.
It's an interesting setup here for each team. We talked last end how Team Cooey was going to go really hard for a force, and Team Casper was going to push really hard to score 2. And we saw that even late in the end, Team Casper was, playing draw around a corner guard instead of, heating any of the rocks in play, trying to do their best to set up a score of a multiple. Now here in the 7th, kind of flips a little bit. Team Kui would love a blank. That's a fantastic result for them. And Team Casper would love to get a force. Force from Team Casper means that they've got hammered down 2. Obviously, that's not ideal, but that's at least some way for you to potentially get yourselves back into it in the 8th with hammer. So the two teams with with heavily competing ideals here in this end.
It's a well-made shot there. I didn't think you were getting around that center line guard.
Mark, you're always the voice of confidence here.
Yeah, that's well done.
So now double peel attempt here from Tyler Tardy.
Got one.
Got just the one. Can't believe he didn't get that second one. I thought he had that clean there. So just drives it by. Does Rich put one back?
Yeah, I think it's too early to start making a play. I mean, yeah, I feel like you make a play, then you're just like a double away for Kui to be really in control, right?
Right. I think my only issue if I'm putting that rock back is you're giving Tyler Tardy a second chance to throw the exact same shot that he almost just made.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the bigger challenges, and especially with how close he was to making that. I don't see him missing it on his next one. A little bit of a long discussion here from the team trying to figure out how they want to play this. It looks like Rich calling for some backline weight, back to house weight here, just to try and tap things around, keep yellows in play, use those reds as catchers for those yellow rocks.
Where's it gonna have to go here?
Yeah, really trying to hold this line as best as they can.
Getting to the low side.
No, that's gonna catch the guard.
Okay, a little bit of split action there.
Split action. Does he go for that double? If he does take that double, if Kui makes this double here, then he does take away the angle. Like that red is then sitting a little bit in the issue of the one part of the yellow rock that you want to hit.
Yeah. Sweeper's off this one here. Oh, a little bit from Karik. Okay.
Really nice shot from Tyler Tardy, and managed to avoid That's a interesting shot there. Instead of sitting up where it would block that shot, ends up just rolling straight down towards the tee line. So anytime you see something flat, you do run the risk of hitting it just a hair on the low side to do that, but not a bad result, though, for Team Kui.
No, it isn't, but now it looks like Team Casper's going to just kind of switch gears a little bit here. Instead of unlocking that back one that's kind of on the button, it's just about using the one in the middle, kind of setting up this little wall here.
Yeah, it looks like, as you said, looking to just create a wall of reds. Basically just, even though they're all above the tee line, it's all a lot of rocks that could eventually be used against Team Kui. A lot of rocks to freeze against here for Team Casper if that wall is set up. And a good freeze into a pocket on a future shot is what's going to help you set up for a force potentially. Sweepers jump on this one right away as well.
Starting to move here. Still got to go for the weight,
Yeah, I think that was jumped on it. Probably noticed it was a little bit light out of hand. And as a result, just kind of jumps right into that red. Tell you what, constant interesting scenarios in this game. We have not been bored with the different setups that we've had on every end here.
Yeah. I mean, just good sweeping just to get it there like a foot higher. And if it's just on it, they're ripping both automatically. They both go easy. I mean, I still think you can rip it.
Yeah, if Kui rips it, then that's really going to start committing to a blank. You just got to be careful because you have to hit that just about perfectly to get both of those reds. Otherwise, if you don't hit it quite perfect, you're going to be jamming one of them potentially instead.
You know, if you're looking from the overhead, I think, yeah, hitting the one on the right first, that definitely spins off. I think you can still get it. In turn here, I guess from the thrower. It's right in the pocket. I think. Well, it's definitely going to be throwing some weight here.
So Aaron Sluchinski bringing this rock down. Tyler Tardy sweeping it in. And interesting. So it does hit pretty much right in the middle of those two rocks and actually brings that yellow to a near perfect corner freeze. So find ourselves into another different type of scenario here. So I think you've got a couple options for Team Casper. Hit the shot rock and roll a little off to the side. Sit maybe 1 and 3, maybe 1 and 4. You could play a double here. If you hit that nose, you'll play the nose double there, sitting 1st and 3rd.
Yeah, you're getting a little worried here because there's 4 Kui rocks there. You just got your 1 in there. Although I guess if you're giving up 2 is pretty bad. 3 is terrible. 4 is, there's no difference between 3 and 4, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're looking at, you got to go hard for the force here for a little bit. We're still on, this is Ben Richardson's last, so still 2 more rocks to try and the reds are grouped enough here that, you know, push comes to shove for Team Casper. They can start to remove some, but it looks like they're going to try and play this double here, which would then remove 2 of those reds.
Yeah, I like this call. Play it. Keeps both options pretty open here. Pushing to the curl side now.
Yeah, it looks like they made this really nice, I believe. Perfect.
Oh.
Great shot there. Really nice shot from Ben Richardson, and good management of that rock from the sweepers there. Both Luke Violet and Aiden Oldenburg doing a great job managing that as it's coming down the sheet. First, trying to hold the line to set it to where they want it to, and then Oldenburg did a great job getting it over to make that double, just sneaking it under those corner frozen rocks. So it's interesting. We've got Team Casper has that frozen rock that Kui's going to try and deal with here on this shot, but yet they've also got that rock that Ben Richardson just threw that they can use. It's in a really great position to use it in some fashion. So a couple different rocks serving different purposes here for Team Casper. And Aaron Sluchinski goes ahead and makes that. So this, I think, is now where we see the decision time for Team Casper. Blank You start playing for the blank, or do you just eliminate those rocks, or do you play really aggressive trying to get the force? This is when it gets hairy, trying to play between those two decisions where you could either play a little closer to the vest and hope for the best and try to steal.
Yeah, this is.
Oof.
I feel they could draw there, maybe. They draw.
Yeah, I think they could draw and get partially corner frozen, right? And basically kind of give us the same situation we just saw, at which point Cooey's probably just playing the exact same shot again on his next one, right?
I mean, they have this double and roll, right? You can. Problem is, I don't know if you roll far enough to not leave a double.
Yeah, it's a very precise roll because you essentially have to leave these perfectly flat and get it all the way. You need to get all the way onto the 12-foot and have it be perfectly even with that rock that's on the 8-foot. So Ben Richardson, Luke Violet's first rock here, trying to make a really precise double and roll, and not going to roll far enough. Yeah. So double here for Kevin Cooey. We're looking at a blank. I'm assuming we're looking at a blank here, unless they're just trying to do their due diligence to see if there's any way to maybe set up a 2. It's a little bit of a tricky spot with how they're set up because Cooey's rock could almost hit the double here and actually roll back out of the house to a guard. So I think he's got to watch out for those angles in that spin. Because you almost have to play this super thin and hit a really thin sliver of that top rock. Yep. Not quite the tick boom that we've hear some teams and other commentators refer to, but pretty close to a tick boom type of shot, just to make sure that you can stick that shooter around. Don't give Team Casper anything to potentially create a force opportunity.
See Tyler coming down, taking a quick peek at it, just making sure he understands the distance between those two. Yeah, because there is some space for it to hit the backside and kind of squirt down. If he's playing off the one off the center line first. But I can talk about that.
Kevin Cooey with his first rock, trying to make a double and stick in the house here on his first rock with hammer. And instead leaves a biter. So just kind of, as you mentioned, kind of squirted through there, moved both of the rocks in play. And now we find ourselves with that force coming in.
Yeah.
And I don't know that unless it's a really clear spot, I don't think Cooey's ever going to try and make a long double for the blank here. So,
well, the thing is, if he gives up one, he's tied with coming home. This be the
that's true.
That is true. Giving up one to keep hammer here.
Now, some of that's going to just come down to team preference as well. Yeah. Where do you feel the most confident in your game? So Ben Richardson's got to hit the paint here with his last one. I don't think that'll be a problem. His draw weight's been right on all game.
Because that was a thing, a couple weeks ago with was that Jacobs and Gushu in the game?
Yep.
Yeah, but Jacobs got booed for. Or wait, no, that was for blanking. I didn't watch that, but I remember reading about it.
It was a fascinating set of events. Love seeing the. I mean, if you haven't, Brad Jacobs did a great interview with John Cullen and Robbie Darty. I'd really recommend checking that out. Love seeing the passion from the fans. So, I think as Gushu alluded to at that one, of all the people to egg on, it's not Brad Jacobs. So, but back here to our game, we've got Kui trying to decide: does he want to try and play that really long double for a blank, or as you mentioned, just hitting one out, playing for to retain hammer going into the 8th end? He's got a lot of different options of what he could do here. Take the 1, be up 2 without hammer, give up the 1 tied with hammer.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I gotta imagine he's gonna wanna keep hammer going, so giving up 1's not terrible, So they can play this, take a free crack at this double here, right? If they get the blank, even better. I guess what the worst case scenario for them situation would be hitting and rolling for the force.
And even that, I don't know that that's the end of the world necessarily.
Oh no, yeah, you're going up 2 then at that point, right? So they're definitely in a comfortable spot here, but I think there's some discussion on what's the desired outcomes, and a bit of that sports psychology, right?
Exactly.
That you're going to be good with whatever result here.
Yeah, they're all. I think a lot of the outcomes are comfortable. It's just what is your most comfortable of those outcomes. Kevin Kui in his last, throwing a lot of weight, so probably going to see what he can do with this one here. Going to come across.
Is it over the top?
It does come over the top, so just out here. So it's going to be a steal of 1 for Team Casper. And we are going to the 8th in a tied game between Kevin Kui and the Team Danny Casper. So we will see you back here for the 8th end. Team Kui has hammer, tied at 6.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sasktel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? Sasktel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
And welcome back here for the 8th end of this C qualifier between Team Cooey and Team Casper from the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown at Swift Current Curling Club. Great game here on Curling. Thanks to the Curling Zone and Curling Stadium stream for giving us the opportunity to just see so many games. And we got one of the last teams going to be getting into the playoffs here. And was watching the body language from Team Cooey after they made that, attempt at the double. I don't think they were super disappointed to keep the hammer, even though they gave up the steal. It seemed like they were pretty okay with giving up the steal there just so they could have last shot here in the 8th end.
Yeah, definitely. I love that they all kind of got around the house and kind of talked about it and seemed they were all on the same page about the outcome, right? Because when you look at it, they've got hammer in a tie game. And, you got to feel decently comfortable heading into it.
Absolutely. And welcome to all of you that were watching the Gushu Mobrick game on the other C qualifier. I'm Ben Hoppe, joined by Mark No here. We've had a wild game back and forth. Started out with a ton of offense in the first few ends with teams trading 2s and 3s to start. Definitely tightened up with some forces and steals here over the last couple ends. So definitely set up for a wild finish here at Swift Current in the C qualifiers. It does look like Rich Runen's center guard is on the center line there. So really important in the 8th end to get on the center line, take away that any opportunity for a tick shot. So at this point, I really feel like it's going to be a race to the center here as we kind of run through this one. Don't you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think the decision here is where are we going here? Are we going frozen on top? Are we throwing one guard here? Are we... Yeah, I think he first tapped like back button, but I think that would be one of the last options we would pick. Looks like they may be settling on just kind of tapping this here. I don't know. I still feel like it's early. I feel like one more guard's okay here.
Yeah, if you go one more guard, I mean, almost no matter what, Team Cooey's can be. I mean, no matter what, Team Cooey's peeling a guard, right? Whether you have one guard or two.
Yeah.
So if you can create a tap back and create a little bit of a pocket here, I think it's really a matter of preference because no matter what you do, Cooey's peeling that guard. So if you make this tap back and make it well, they peel the guard, you put the guard back, and you kind of play that cat and mouse game for a little bit here. But looks like Aiden Oldenburg's shot definitely a little wide, but really nice sweep from Luke Violet to get that over. Probably a little heavier than what they wanted, though.
Yeah, absolutely. There's very low possibility with Jam that being back on the other side of the house now does create an interesting, question here, right? Do we rip the center guard? Is that the problem rock? Do we need to address this one that's, kind of sitting close to the 4-foot while it's pretty accessible? Like, and it looks like they're gonna.
The slash, or the run here, I think is open, and if you play that run, your shooter's going to roll out. So you're just going to take the red, remove a bunch of rocks here, and that is a wonderful shot from Tyler Tardy. Getting all that granite to move is huge for having the last rock. So really well done.
So yeah, now Richie's kind of forced to inch back towards the center line here. Doesn't have, I guess he's not necessarily looking to be dead on the center, still kind of half guarding and half getting close to the center and maybe eventually get over there.
Yeah, I don't know. The tricky part is if you leave it off the center, you're giving a little bit more of an opportunity potentially for Team Cooey to throw a run where they're not going to just stuff it and leave a guard in play, right? That's the one thing Cooey can't do is leave any guards up there. So I feel like they still want this pretty much nose on to force Cooey to choose between either a straight peel or a run back, in which case he's probably just going to choose the peel. So for the time being, I think Team Casper's got to be pretty well set on just putting that guard, trying to get it dead, covering the rock in the house. And Team Kui will be content to keep peeling these out for a couple rocks here. Yep.
You know, and the Casper stone's in it's in a decent-ish place, right? It's biting the 4 foot, right? So it's, potentially a steel rock if it comes down to it, but...
Yeah, we're not really going to see how Rich Runen wants to utilize that rock for Kevin Kui's last until, assuming that all the rocks from here on out are made, we're not really going to get to see how he wants to utilize that rock until probably Luke Violet's first rock, maybe even his second, like until their last rock at the end. So Ben Richardson's rock here, just trying to see if they can, once again, just fully cover their rock in the house. And sure enough, they do. Moves just a little further over this time. I think a little more enticing for Kui to think about that.
It is, yeah. It just curled that last little bit.
And it's higher, too, than the previous one. So they are going to actually come around and looks like play a hit on that one with how high that guard is.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the weight is for this shot. It's a lot of these hits have been pretty weight sensitive.
Interesting decision to keep the guard in play. They're just trying to give a rock that now Team Casper would have to deal with. You do remove it and sit open here. So I guess the benefit for playing that is now, assuming Rich Runen comes down to deal with this rock, if he does, then that really helps to open up the scoring area for Kevin Kui's final shot. So it looks like Rich is going to call a guard here. Try to get as many rocks in play as he can, going into Skip's rocks.
Yeah, as soon as I was talking about they're just gonna guard peel, add a little bit of change up. So shows you how quick these ends, even though it looks routine, can change pretty quickly here.
Kevin Kui just keeping us on our toes here. He didn't want us to get bored with what's going on. Keeper's on this one a little bit now, coming off of it. Maybe a little deeper than they wanted, but that's actually, I really like that shot. We're starting to create the stagger here.
That's sneaky good, yeah.
Now we're going to see a peel the other way from Team Kui on Aaron Slaczynski's last rock. Well made. Now a decision time. Do you put the guard up and try to make a shot on your last? Or do you go into action now and get hyper aggressive early?
I don't know. I always like the guard first here, right? It just leaves you one bullet left, but that always seems like a scary thing to do,
Yep. And if you put the guard up, you always run the risk of Kui being the first one into a spot, right?
So if he goes top 4, then
you've got to chase and make it better somehow.
Yeah.
With that ice call, it looks like they are throwing a guard here. should know the spot really well. They've thrown a bunch of rocks along this path on this end.
This one does need to curl quite a bit to get to the center line here.
I don't think they need it all the way over to the center, but they want to be covering up that yellow as much as possible, because that yellow is what's creating the stagger. And sure enough, they do. So no matter what, Cooey's going to have the button for the win. That is a given. The tricky part here is how much of the button will he need to hit on his last. So it looks like the team coming down to once again talk about it.
Yeah, where do you put this one here, right?
It looks like there's a few different decision points. You could put it, try and put it higher up, which gives you something to run back and also makes it really hard for Luke Violet to bury it anywhere that Cooey can't see it. So you'll have a usable rock. They also tap the side of the 4-foot. I'm not a huge fan of that. There's an opportunity to make a hit and a flat roll buried. That I feel like is giving that, like, it's a hard shot and it's a precise shot, but I feel like it's almost making Luke Violet's shot a little bit easier than maybe putting it even on the center line.
Yeah, you're giving him some tolerance on his shot. I was actually kind of thinking about that. It kind of reminds me, I think it was a Anderson Homan final where she just kind of drew almost open, let her, hit and try to roll, and then just took the other draw and took the draw again. Yeah, I don't mind side of the tee or even like back 4. Try to dare him into freezing or just drawing.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to play that game of chicken necessarily.
Because I think you always have that one on your intern side, right? That you can make that kind of quiet tap. It's not fun, but you got options.
I mean, it's the 8th end. I like seeing a little bit of fun here in the 8th. Why not?
Well, for no center guards, Casper's definitely making an end out of this here.
Yeah, it got interesting as soon as we thought that Cooey was just going to keep peeling those guards, and as soon as he came around to chase there, it did open up the scoring area a little bit more, but it opened up the opportunity just to have some guards in play. So, really interesting development of this 8th end here for Team Cooey. Really important that he's sitting shot. Make Casper's last as difficult as possible. Like that's going to come in. Just to basically where they tap, just the side of the button. And that effectively forces the hand from Team Casper. You basically have to make perfect roll here.
Yeah, these hit and rolls haven't been super easy tonight. I feel like the doubles have been a lot easier, right? Just the curl's been a little tricky, right? It's been a little weight sensitive on these hits.
Yep, and we haven't really seen we've seen 1 or 2 peels, I think, this end with this rotation, but nothing this end out this side. And even earlier in the game, they generally were playing the opposite rotation down to this side of the ice. So it is a tricky spot for certain. And I guess the other part of Cooey playing that draw on his is he just played it. So if Luke Violet makes this shot perfect, Cooey knows exactly what he just threw to throw the exact same shot on his last. So Luke Violet's got a hit, sit shot, and ideally bury on this rock. It's got a curl, and it does not. It just sits wide open. So Kevin Cooey has a hit on his last. Doesn't even have to sit around. Just got to make this rock go away for the win. Kevin Cooey's last rock here in the 8th end. Just needs to make this rock go for the win. And makes it go away, and that is going to be a C qualification for Kevin Cooey. They are on to the playoffs. Mark, we had a really fun game here between these two teams. That was a lot of back and forth action throughout the course of that game.
Yeah, great shot making by both teams, right? Great weight control on their hits. Just just a little bit on the lines. We're kind of throwing them off later in the end, but yeah, some great shots. Good game to watch. Very fun.
Very fun game to watch. A really nice run here from Team Casper, especially without their skip. So kudos to them, and good luck to Team Cooey as they head into the playoffs here in Swift Current. If you're looking for some more action, there's still the other C qualifier on the ice. Kelly Knapp and Brent Pierce are coming down with looks like a 1 point lead here for Kelly Knapp without Hammer. So if you want to keep watching some games, head over to the other stream on Curling Zone. Thanks to Curling Stadium for putting this on, and good curling.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.